Morning, everyone. Here we are again, starting another session of our study. It is Easter. Happy Easter to everyone all around the world. Let's use that opportunity to try to use this time the best as we can to help us to understand a bit better Kardec, understand a bit better ourselves, because that's very good. So we have stopped in that sentence here that's highlighted in yellow last week. So I will start from there. All these spiritual phenomena, one of the most extraordinary and indisputable, and one that most obviously demonstrates the action of hidden intelligence, involves direct writing. Despite the fact that it is produced by hidden beings, however, this particular phenomenon is no more miraculous than any of the others that are also caused by invisible agents. For these invisible beings who inhabit space are one of the very powers of nature, a power that unceasingly acts both upon physical and mental worlds. I guess you will remember that last weekend we mentioned a little bit what it is all about, right? Directly writing is something that is right without any intervention from the incarnated beings, us. And at that time, to assure that that was reliable, there was not anything fake, usually they used to leave a white piece of paper inside a drawer and lock this drawer. Only on the end of the session, they would open that drawer and then they would find a message written by one or more spirits. By enlightening us, before we go there, look at how Kardec mentioned what are a spirit, the spirits, very power of nature. So I think that's beauty, because why is he saying very power of nature? Because we are promoting changes everywhere we go, on earth, on the spiritual world, everywhere. We are a power of nature. By enlightening us concerning the true nature of this power, Spiritism has provided us with a key to an infinite number of occurrences that are unexplained and unexplainable matters in any other way, and which in remote times were regarded as wonders, as was the case with magnetism. Spiritism has revealed, if not an unknown law, at least a poorly understood one, or rather, a law whose effects have always known about because they have been produced down through the ages, but whose governing laws had been unknown. It was therefore ignorance of such a law that gave rise to superstition. Let me stop here a bit. Let's talk first about magnetism. The great majority of people, when we talk about magnetism, we talk about magnetism of the matter. That would be electrical fields of Earth and things like that. But the magnetism that Kardec is talking about here is the animal magnetism. It's the magnetism that every living being possesses. So the magnetism he's talking about here is like a cousin from the Spiritism, because a lot of things we do originated from that time with the magnetism teachings as well. And as we move through our study, we'll be speaking about magnetism from time to time, And that is something very important to consider. Where do we use magnetism and the Spiritism? Healing. Healing is one of them, and a few other things, but that's some to discuss in the future. And one thing that Kardec also mentioned here that's very, very important is that we do not know the laws that we have around us. And because we do not know those laws, we consider that as marvelous, as well, how can I say that? We can consider as a superstition. But on the end of the day, I think that by now we know that there's no miracle, there is no wonders. Everything is guided by a law. And as he rightly said, we do not know all the laws yet, but that is one, driving everything. However, since the law has been understood, the extraordinary has disappeared, and the phenomena have been reintegrated into the order of natural events. Guys, just to remind you, if you want to jump in, open your mic, make any comment, question, you're more than welcome to participate. I saw that someone had a mic open, so please do. Don't be shy. Hence, by enabling a table to move or the dead to write, Spiritism do not perform any more of a miracle than a doctor who revives a person on the edge of death, or a physicist who manages to attract a bolt of lightning. So Kardec, he really stressed that point. We do not do miracles. Spiritism does not perform miracles. Everything follows a law. Anyone who intended to perform miracles with the help of Spiritist science would either be ignorant of the doctrine or charlatan. Well, I think Spiritists should call themselves Spiritists if they have a routine of study. I believe there is so much to learn. That's only one reincarnation. It's not enough to read every single book we have nowadays. But we can choose a particular area of the doctrine of the spirits and really go deeper, because then it's the only way to really know what it's about. In regards to charlatanism, we can find that anywhere. We can find that in the Spiritism, outside Spiritism, even in our environment. How many people say they are capable of doing something and they are not? This is part of existence from day one. And I think the best is to always refrain to a safe basis. And in our case, Kardec is the safest basis for the Spiritism. We do have a lot of good things after Kardec as well, but Kardec is by far what I consider my safest point to refrain when I have a question, when I have a doubt. Like magnetic phenomena, spirit phenomena passes as wonders before their cause was fully understood. Do you agree with that? I hope so. Even among the Spiritists, a lot of us think something's wonderful, something is almost a miracle, but it is because we never study enough the phenomena. We never study enough the subject to understand that there is no wonders. Everything that guides a mediumship phenomena, a spiritist phenomena, follows a law, a natural law. And if you see any spiritist talking about, oh, that's wonderful, blah, blah, We need to study. We need to go deeper. When I talk something wonderful, it's not the word itself, it's the meaning the person is using for that word. Like, only on the Spiritism we find this. Only here we can heal people. Only here. There's no such a thing, all right? We all are exactly the same, and we follow the very same laws. Doesn't matter our creed, where we are, who we are. And opinionated skeptics, i.e., those who think they have exclusive rights to reason and do not believe that something is possible if they cannot understand it. And that is why all the so-called prodigious phenomena have been the object of their ridicule. That's very common even nowadays, right? We believe in what we believe. We only consider things that we accept. If that is not within my parameters, I don't give even the benefit of the doubt. So I would say that the best thing we can do is always to give the benefit of the doubt, is study. We may perform some experiences, and then we can elaborate our own theory. Since religion itself, I saw your hand raised by accident, but if that, just open the mic and talk.
I've opened the mic, but my hand thing isn't working. Every time I try and press on it, it won't work. So that's why I've raised my hand like that. So
I prefer, Christine.
Yeah.
I prefer that you open your mic and talk, because I don't see you all. I see only few of you, and always rotating on the screen. So perhaps you raise your hand, I will not see. So open your mic, and that's no problem at all, okay?
Yep. Can you all hear me?
Go on. Yep.
Just wanted to say that a lot of this is where in Australia we have problems, because people don't understand Spiritism. They think it's a religion that's like I can't think of the name of that group now, but one that you have to just devote your whole life to, and you have to give all your money to, and it's not a real belief system in God or you know what's happening once we pass. I've tried to speak to people. Some people are quite interested, and others are very cynical. But this is in Australia. So I think, especially in countries like Australia, it's not as I've said before, it's not as well known. And that's where some of the problems lay, is trying to get that message out there. And Kardec's name out there, and where it all stems from. But it's quite difficult, because in general, Australians by their very nature can be very skeptical about things.
Christine, being skeptical is very positive, very, very positive. But being a clever, skeptical person is what is important. Being skeptical and not even thinking about it, I think something is missing. Being skeptical and try to identify, try to analyze, perform some experiences, that's perfect. Prove me wrong. And if you cannot prove me wrong, you will learn something. Not only about Spiritism, about anything in life. Prove me wrong. It's the best thing that could happen to me. Prove me wrong. And if you can't, why you can't? Because I'm right? Or because there's not enough information to you to prove me wrong? If we achieve this point, and if you are reasonable, we are not skeptical anymore, because we'll be in doubt. Because to be skeptical, we need to be sure that something does not exist, something does not happen, something is impossible. If I come to a paradigm, if you like, where I cannot prove right or wrong, exist or don't exist, if I'm clever enough, at least, I don't know anymore. What should I think now? Should I study a bit more? Should I go deeper? Should I try to find other source of information to evaluate this topic? And that's beautiful. So I think I even spoke about that a couple of weeks ago. I don't bother to convince anyone. That's not the goal for Spiritism. I'm not here to convince any of you, not at all. I'm here to share what I learned, what I believe, and what I know. If the person on the other end does not believe, perfect. Why you don't believe? As again, prove me wrong. And this is a process. A person who really wants to understand it is a serious person, he or she will at least buy a book, read, research on the internet and things like that before even open his mouth, his or her mouth. If it's just someone saying, I don't believe for the sake of saying, I don't believe, I will not lose my energy with that at all. Kardec didn't. He only answered, he only opened a conversation about Spiritism subject of those who were truly trying to explain why they did not believe. Not someone just to be sarcastic or anything like that. We don't have time to waste with that. We don't. And the goal of Spiritism is to give knowledge to people that wants to acquire this knowledge. If the person don't want, so be it. And when someone talk about, oh, this is just to gather money, I understand. Because as I said here, there's a lot of charlatanism around the world that even use names like Spiritism or something to make money, to making a living. But a true Spiritist and a true Spiritism that has no link with money. We don't. It's not like there are some religions, for example, that you have to contribute part of your salary every month. You need to do this. We don't have that. It's totally the opposite. I don't want to go on that avenue, but we don't have that, right? And if you see someone using the Spiritist name and making a living of it, then be careful. If you see a medium charging to use his mediumship, go away from that. Go away from that. Because that's not what the Spiritism is. That's not what Kardec brought to us. That is not what the serious spirits brought to us. So that's normal. People think what they want to think, but then we need to know what to do. You don't want to believe? So be it. Is that okay?
Yeah.
No, Liz apologizes. She has no microphone, but she's placed a question here in the chat. And she's asking if you could explain more about magnetism.
Who was asking, Munir?
Liz from Wales.
Liz, we can, but it's a large subject to talk. It is not something that we'll be able to do in 10 minutes, like, okay. But just to give you, it's even difficult to make a resume. How can I condensate all of this in a couple of minutes? Let's think about Mesmer. Do we all know who Mesmer was? No. Mesmer, he was someone almost contemporary of Kardec. He was part of French Medicine Academy, and he was able to treat people using what now we know is magnetism from animals, from vegetables, from humans. What he was able to identify through his research and practice is that we all have an energy. More than that, everything has an energy. A tree, an animal, ourselves, everything produces energy. And that energy, if is used in a positive way, can help to treat people. He was able to heal people that the medicine at the time was not able to, using the magnetism. And what is important to us to know in this brief moment is that we are like a generator, an energy generator. If I'm having a positive thought, if I'm doing something positive, I will be a source of positive magnetism. If I have bad thoughts, if I'm doing something that's not that positive, I'm also a source of negative magnetism. If I'm a source of a positive magnetism, I can direct with my will that energy, that magnetism, in direction of others. If a person lacks energy in that area, for example, I can give what I have to help them. And I will stop here because to really talk about magnetism, that will take weeks and weeks. There's a lot of things, but at least that will give you some ideas of what is the animal magnetism. And just to make things more complicated, it's not the only magnetism that exists. We also have the Spiritist magnetism, okay? And that we can use when we apply the healing. And that will come in the future. Okay, Liz, I hope so. Since religion itself is full of phenomena of this kind, they do not believe in religion either. And from there, it is only a small step to complete this belief. There is one thing that is important to talk, is about religion. Kardec does not indicate that Spiritism is a religion. It's a philosophy and science. But on the end of the day, it doesn't matter what you think. If you use the guidance of what to do or not to do, that's the goal. If you want to think that's a religion because you feel better, so be it. And like I used to say, if somebody asked me if Spiritism is a religion, my answer is depending who you ask. But the most important is to leave words behind and understanding the meaning of it. If you truly understand the meaning of the Spiritism, it doesn't matter if we think it's a religion, if we think it's a science, if we think it's a philosophy. Because then, if we follow what has been brought to us, we are evolving as a human beings, and that's the most important. However, since Spiritism is able to explain most of these phenomena, it justifies their very existence. Thus, it has come to aid religion by demonstrating the possibility of some of the phenomena, which, even though no longer miracles, are nonetheless extraordinary, and God is neither more or less powerful at not having derogated from the divine laws. So here Kardec saying that Spiritism came to help religion. He never said A or B religion. Came to help religion. Doesn't matter what kind of religion you have. Because the Spiritist phenomena, as we call, are natural phenomena. And they do happen everywhere, every corner of the world. If you are Catholic, Protestant, Buddhist, the phenomena happens everywhere. And the Spiritism came to explain what those phenomena are. And bear in mind that Kardec is saying that we explain almost all of them. That means at that time, few things perhaps could not be explained yet. And today, as we progress with the help of science, we will maybe in the future able to respond. So he leaves an open possibility to all of us. How many jokes have had levitations of San Cupertino as their object? Nevertheless, the suspension of heavy objects in air is an occurrence explained by the Spiritism law. So what people think is a miracle, someone levitating in air, the Spiritism can explain. We have personally been eyewitness of the San Cupertino type phenomena, which Mr. Home, his name is Douglas Home, he one of the most powerful mediums of physical medium effect producer from all time. I think he was Scottish. And many other persons known to us have repeated many times. Thus, this phenomenon must also be included in order of natural events. In Brazil, we have another one that was very powerful, if you can say like that, was Mirabelli in São Paulo. He could even produce those phenomena in sunlight, something that's not easy. Most of the Spiritist phenomena, they happens when there's no sunlight in a proper environment. And some mediums, because they have that so strong on them, they could perform in outside in the sun and things like that. But there are not many registers as such. Among the number of phenomena of this kind, apparitions should be given first place since they are the most frequent. The apparitions at La Salette, about which there are divergent opinions among the clergy, is nothing remarkable to us. Assuredly, we cannot go so far as to safely affirm the reality of the event, because we have no material proof of the matter. And I will stop here. Look how conscious he was when he said that he understands the possibility of the phenomena, but he will not elaborate further. Why? Because he had no additional material. He did not eyewitness the phenomena. So he said, yes, it's reasonable what came to our ears, but I don't have more information about it. And that's what we should do. Keep our heart open to different possibilities. And then if we don't, try to use that as an opportunity. There's another thing here that I want to talk about. We'll talk about that later. Christine, by lucky, I see your hand raised. Please
Yes.
open your mic and talk.
Yeah, I've done that. I can't, for some reason, the hand won't work.
No,
So that's why I have to keep.
I understood what I want to say to you. Open your mic and talk.
Yep.
Because I may not see your hand raised. Okay.
Okay. I just wanted you to explain the apparition of La Salette.
Okay. La Salette is a place in France, as many other places in the world, where people used to say, I saw Virgin Mary, for example. She was in this place, blah, blah, blah. Or I saw someone, I saw. To start with, we need to understand the phenomena. Any spirit, given and take certain circumstances, they can be seen by us, even if we are not mediums. When things like that happen, due to our tendency or to our belief, we think they are angels, they are gods, they are Virgin Mary or anything else. And the phenomena is the same. In that case, in La Salette, I don't know the case La Salette in particular, but in that case, I believe is the case where someone saw one spirit that could be materialized or not, and then you start to create a whole bunch of things around that. I know places myself, I've been to places myself where people saw what they thought was an angel or they thought was a saint or whatever, and they disappear later. In this particular area, they create, with approval of the church at the time, a place to gather people in name of God or Virgin Mary or whatever. So that's what I believe is La Salette, but I never went to study La Salette myself, that case myself. But apparition of spirits is very common. We can see in many parts of the world, and in some places, as I said, because of the church beliefs, it became a place of where people travel to seek for help, to seek for pardon, and things like that. Munir, did you ever heard that La Salette thing? Do you know any detail of it?
No, I don't, Guilherme.
Yeah. I will try to find, and then if I find, I'll talk to you about that one next week. Okay, Christine?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
How can we have an apparition of a spirit? You may be thinking. If I'm not a medium, the way to, when I say not a medium, an ostensive medium, for the lack of better words, and it has to be a temporary materialization of the spirit. How is that possible? The spirit, he will use energy, ectoplasm, magnetism of the environment and the people around him or her to allow to temporarily gain aspect of matter. How often that happens? Not very often. Most of the time, people that do not know they have mediumship, they see in the spirit and they believe it's an apparition. But how many people see spirits without knowing they are mediums? That, I believe, is more common, way easier as well. So these are the two options that come to my mind.
I've just got something from the internet. If people want to know about La Salette, it's Our Lady of La Salette is a Marian, M-A-R-A-I-N, apparition reported by two French children, Maximin Giraud and Melanie Calvat, to have occurred at La Salette Falavaux, France in 1846. On 19th of September 1851, the local bishop formally approved the public devotion and prayers to Our Lady of La Salette. So that's, like you said, just a bit more.
So I was not too wrong, not too far. Very good.
Exactly, yeah.
Thank you, Saul. So here we go, Christine. Now you know La Salette. Nevertheless, we certainly consider it possible, in light of the thousands of similar recent events with which we are familiar. We believe in them not only because we have verified the reality, but especially because we know perfectly well how they are produced. Those wishing to refer to the theory of apparitions, which we will provide further on, will see that these phenomena are as simple and plausible as the infinite number of physical phenomena that only appear prodigious when we lack the key to explain them. Look at how this is, I think this is very important, because we can use that sentence in a lot of situations. Only appears prodigious when we lack the key to explain them. And that can be used not only on the Spiritism, but in a lot of different situations. As for the actual personage that represented itself at La Salette, that is a different issue. Its identity has never been absolutely proven to us, and we only accept the fact that some kind of apparition could have appeared. The rest of the details are outside our competency to judge. Look what he's saying. He had part of information, he evaluated part of information, he validated part of information. Some part he could not. So he gave the benefit of the doubt, saying that he did not have the right competence to judge, to evaluate. If someone like Kardec did not have the competency to judge the entire phenomena without being witnessing that phenomena, how can I? I cannot. And I should keep that in mind every time I decide to elaborate a judgment about any phenomena. If we witness a phenomena, if we know the extent of all the facts and factors involved in this phenomena, is one thing. If I don't, I can only judge part of it. But then what should I do in that case? My suggestion is keep what you know and study, research, talking to other people, compare similar events, and then you are able perhaps to fill the other gaps. Each one may keep his or her own convictions regarding the matter, but Spiritism does not need to be concerned with it. We will only state that the facts produced by Spiritism have revealed new laws and have given us the key to a multitude of incidents that formerly seemed supernatural. So basically, what was supernatural before, after Spiritism, is only supernatural to those who wants to keep as it is, but to people that are considering to be exposed to the Spiritism teachings, very unlikely they will consider some of the phenomena or most of the phenomena supernatural. If some of those supposed miraculous facts find a logical explanation in Spiritism, it is one more reason for people not to be in a hurry to deny what they do not comprehend. So then I remember what Christine was saying earlier today. A lot of people jump to make their own conclusions without giving the benefit of the doubt or even bother to truly understand what's going on. Spiritist phenomena have been contested by some individuals precisely because they appear to be outside ordinary laws and because an explanation for them could not be found. However, provide them with a rational basis and there can be no more doubt. So then, Kardec is telling us here, we need to use our rationality to come to a conclusion. If we are using that as a basis, chances are that we'll find the proper explanation for the phenomena. In this century, in which no one is satisfied with mere words, well, that was the 18th century, right? Imagine nowadays. An explanation is therefore a powerful motive for conviction. An explanation is therefore a powerful motive for conviction. Thus, every day we see persons who have never even witnessed one phenomenon, who have never seen a table move or a medium write, but who are nevertheless as convinced as we are solely because they have read and understood. Do we all have the same possibility to get in touch with the Spiritist phenomena? Did I had contact with every Spiritist phenomena? Did I have with some? Yes. So that made me believe, using what other people were able to witness and to report to us, as a plausible. 40 years ago, I had no contact at all with the phenomena. And I believed anyway. And that was something like very natural to me. Today, I had contact with some type of phenomena, not all of them, some. And I still have the same mindset. Everything that I saw makes sense. Within some parameters, evaluating, questioning, waiting for the repetition of the phenomena is also very important. Because if something happens only once, maybe my misinterpretation. But if I see that over and over and over, nope, there is something behind. There is a mechanism, there is a law guiding this phenomena. If we had to believe only what we have actually seen with our own eyes, our convictions would be reduced to insignificance. That's very true as well, isn't it? And making a parallel with science. What do you know about science? What do I know about science? Very little. Probably something next to nothing. But I believe in what I see from those very clever people, from the doctors, from the scientists, from the publications. I believe they managed to send a satellite to Mars. I believe they just send a different satellite telescope to replace the Hubble. Not that Weber, Thomas Weber, I think the name. But I never saw a satellite in my life. But thanks to those satellites, I have a TV at home. I have internet, I have things like that, but I never saw. So why am I prepared to believe in something like that and not prepared to believe in something else? So we need to make our mind. Well, here we are. We are moving to the chapter 3. Any comments, guys, before I move to the next one?
Yes, sorry, I'll just jump in because I can't put my hand up. I just want to say that just the last section of chapter 2 seems to bring about where Kardec is actually really honing in on the basis of science and philosophy versus religion in the way he's writing. That's how I see it. So it's really giving credibility, and it's not saying thou shalt believe, but it's saying there's a rational basis and there can be no more doubt. And he's using positive words like convinced, and use your own eyes. So I see a lot of the reasoning behind how he's written this book in the sections of chapter 2 that we've just read.
And hopefully you will see that all the way through, because that's the mindset. That should be our mindset on everything. It's not just because I saw something on TV that's true. It's not just because I read something in a book that's true. We need to keep that freedom to analyze everything around us, anything that anyone say to us. But that's a hard work, because to keep that freedom of thought, I need to prepare myself. I need to be exposed to a variety of information. And if I want to evaluate a subject, for example, my son was talking about the other day about quantum computers, and he came to me with questions. I said, oh my God, I have no idea what he's talking about. Hi, Munir, I saw your hand.
Yes, Guilherme, what I was going to say about Christine's comment is that what Kardec is trying to do, because at his time, that religion was actually very strong in the sense that people would believe, and was a kind of blind faith. And what Kardec is trying to do is to use scientific methodology way of thinking, reasoning. What he's saying is, let's place reasoning to analyze everything that we see in this special case, is the information brought by spirits about the spiritual reality. So what he's saying is that people usually they jump into conclusion based in blind faith or something that they like, they believe, and they can't support when you analyze that through reasoning, why they believe that and don't believe the other thing, And what he's trying to do is this: analyze everything. If you don't understand, keep quiet, try to gather more information, try to see if it makes sense. And this is very important because he wants to break free from the religious tradition where you have dogmas, you believe someone said that, and that's it. You can't question if it's true or if it's not true. You just have to believe. And he's trying to break free. I think the importance of this chapter is actually breaking free from traditional religion, where you believe without reasoning about, without gathering information to draw your conclusions.
Very good indeed. So, you're okay if we start to move on?
Yeah. Could I just ask a question? Talking about beliefs and dogma and everything, there's a lovely test as to how you have believed things without doing research that I can provide, because so many people, it's so imperative that we have this critical thinking and that we do our research as thoroughly as Allan Kardec does here in this Mediums book. It's a really, really good example. And a good test of that for everyone here is signofthetimes.net. If you take any article that has been verified on here, which is done by a forum I'm a researcher with, and you look at any articles, see if they conform to what your current belief is. I am sure on the 6 different subjects that something will hit you between the eyes and you think, gosh, I was thinking this when actually it is that. So just a little test, an interesting one, but for learning. I've shared it on the screen, signofthetimes.net. Have a little try this weekend. You'll be amazed.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. What time is it? Oh, we still have a little bit of time. So the chapter number 3 that we're starting today is about methodology.
Wait, hang on. Mute.
Hi. Oh, Charles is there. Hi, Charles. I see your hand. Go on. Charles, I think you're on mute.
Sorry. Hello, Guilherme. Hello, everyone. Very happy to be here, gathered together with you once more. I'm really finding amazing the efforts that Kardec made in this first chapters, particularly this second chapter, in order to demystify the mediumship phenomenon. And he's really putting a lot of effort and pushing science to go and study these phenomenon according to the scientific methods. This is basically what Kardec did during the codification, and this is why he, after thinking a lot about this, expressed and then wrote this whole chapter. There is nothing extraordinary, nothing supernatural. It's everything natural and can be explained with laws, etc. So when we look what happened after this, indeed, science did investigate a lot this phenomenon. You had the William Crookes first, the Royal Scientific, I don't remember exactly the institution to which he participated. And then you had the Society for Psychical Research in London, in Australia, in US, and a little bit everywhere. So in France also, Institut Métapsychique International, and so on. And they came with a lot of reports of writing, proceedings, with pictures and so on. They really deeply investigated the phenomenon. So one could really today think, okay, what's today's status? These things got lost a little bit of momentum. Some of these societies are still existing, but some others, like parapsychology, moved more back to the materialistic phenomenon, saying that all this is property of the spirit, which is the product of the biochemical reaction in the brain or whatsoever, this type of hypothesis. So they lost a little bit momentum and interest, because the people know that it's not like this. There is the spiritual reality is existing, and science is still reluctant to enter in this spiritualist paradigm, still today. And today, I think we are facing now another type of problem, because there is more and more people are rejecting the authority of science. As you can see here, Kardec is no science when it's studying something seriously. There is nothing to discuss. But today, still, when you see a study about vaccine, yeah, but it has been financed. There is a conflict of interest between the lobby X, Y, or Z, and so on. And we have more and more such type of reactions. So it's really extremely interesting to think about how we could today adapt this type of reasoning and presentation to come to objectives that Kardec had to bring serious, to stimulate serious studies about mediumship, which is today not yet the case by official science, unfortunately. And that's exactly the big dilemma we have to solve nowadays. Sorry, I've been a little bit too long, but
actually, I'm here reflecting what you said. I think was great. And did Kardec had a glimpse of the future when he was writing that? Because I think they're kind of giving us a safe path, not only on his time, but in our time too. Analyzing everything, work with science. I still see Kardec as very present in this 21st century as he was in his time.
Yes, you see, just after the part you highlighted in yellow, he's writing in this century. So this century means 19th century. Today we are 21st century, okay? And he was saying, in which no one is satisfied with mere words. And wants explanation as a powerful motive for conviction. Where are we today with regards to this? Did it really change? You have so many fake news making so many people believing in it without any proof, any demonstration, any explanation. You know, it's very, very complex, the situation. That's why I'm still a little bit, how to say, we really should reflect more and see how I tend to agree with you. Basically, what Kardec is saying is right, but how can we adapt the way to convince our fellows nowadays about the need to have serious studies and to demystify all this stuff? Because the money which is done by some people who are exploiting mediumship and so on is surfing on the same mystical approach. So they have no interest in having clear explanation demonstrating for A plus B that what they are doing is fake. I'm a little bit strong in my wording here, but basically that's it. And the situation is extremely complex. I would really be how to say, happy to get some hint about the spirituality about this. What is the best way nowadays in the 21st century ahead?
Charles, what I'm going to say now is a very particular point of view. I think, especially with the young generations, so deep into technology, so deep into science and future, the future of Spiritism in convince people lies in the science ahead of us. I see that as science progress, as we Spiritists start to see the phenomena, let's say with the science eyes, not the dogma, not the mysticism that a lot of people have, things may be different in the future. So personal point of view is that science may be the key. What do you think?
Maybe. Let's see how. I'm sure the spiritualities, they have a plan. Now the thing is how do we contribute or do in the best way to this plan?
That's true. And it is our time for today. That was very nice comments, very nice participation of everyone. And now that I know that you're there, would you like to make a final prayer, Charles?
No, of course.